Vandana Shiva, the Indian environmental activist and a food sovereignty advocate, once said that raising livestock is an act of service to humanity and it is a privilege. Livestock farmers all around the world have several stories to tell, and these stories ranges from one form to another. Welcome to another edition of my Livestock Story Series on Livestock Trend TV. Today I am on another farm. This time around it's a poultry farm here in Oyo State, Nigeria. And with me today is the founder and the CEO of Enreach Farm Nigeria. And he's no other person but Mr. Zubair Sulaiman. Mr. Zubair, good evening and thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you and thanks for paying us a visit as well.
Thank you very much, sir. So to begin with, what do you do on Enreach Farms and why livestock farming?
So initially, we're doing broilers just to sell live. We're selling them live. Now, as time passes by, there were several challenges with selling, because we look at it and we just sell to them, like to the off-takers, and what we get in return was not really worth it. So we started down, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. What can we actually do? And we saw that there had to be a value addition. So we started processing as well. So presently now, what we do basically on our farm now is rearing of broiler and processing. We raise them to table size and we slaughter and process. So we process them for consumers.
Great. So why did you go into livestock? Why not plants? Why not another business? Why livestock farming?
In fact, I think, should I say, it started like a child's play. So it wasn't really, because looking back while I was in secondary school, I wanted to study medicine, and I think that was year 2007, my uncle, to be more specific, so I think he's still a lecturer, so he says Sulaiman, and I could remember growing up then too, I was raising few birds at home, so I would always go to Agege, get birds and raise. He actually observed that, I like raising birds, so I think that was all it started. So instead of, just like as usual, my result was not really, so studying medicine was not forthcoming, it was not successful. So I had to just diversify it into studying, and let me say I changed my course of study to agriculture. So from Last Protect, I came to UI to study animal science, and the rest is history. I think that was how it was started. So it was not like maybe because someone told me to do it, or so. I think I had a flair too for livestock. So, and again I studied agriculture, what's it called, animal science, in our institution. And after graduation, I was fortunate to get a sponsor, my brother anyway. So I think I had a sponsor, and I just felt like, okay, the reason why most of us are actually working, aside the passion for the business, is because we need money. Of course, we actually vent for ourselves, vent for our family. So I just look at it like I am. And while in school, so something we always look to the other, and I saw that this thing it was actually favorable, because looking at the course I studied, and so there were a lot of encouragement, and people testifying to the fact that I think you guys, you are really good at this thing you do. Looking at my practical courses at Lagos State Polytechnic down to University of Ibadan. So I just took it up, okay, I think I'm more practical with all these things, and I was really doing it well. So if I could do it well at school, so I think I can actually make it more meaningful when I start practicing it.
Thank you for talking about what you studied in school and the flair for this. I was about to ask you how you started. What were the challenges? Was it very easy for you to get someone to sponsor you or to support you for this? How was it like when you wanted to procure the land? How was it like when you wanted to have a good location to have your farm and all of that? How did it happen?
This farm where we are, way back 2016, everywhere was actually pushy. We were not even having all this paint. So we started with just two paints, two partitions of all these, and just 3 rooms. And I was the one alone here, just looking. But I think back then too, in this area, we're not having the issue of, all these insecurity was not rampant, was not really as bad as what we're having now. Probably it is now. I mean, no, let me tell you, I can't say I will all be here alone and I will start it all alone and I will be here. like day and night and doing it all alone.
Back then you were here all alone?
I was here all alone. It was just me. Of course, just look at the, you said?
Looking after the animals alone?
Looking after the animals, raising them, procuring, what's it called? All the inputs. I mean, the birds, the feed, and I have to drive to town, come back. So we had the challenge of finance, but I was fortunate to get a sponsor. So the other one then, which was not really a problem for me, because the major problem was how do I get the funds to actually start? Because I think what prompted me to starting was I was fortunate to get a sponsor. So since I was able to get that, and I think, okay, if I am not lazy, I should be able to actually start this as alone. So I think the best method I adopted then was small plot adoption technique. So I didn't really start too big. So I started with just 2,000 birds then. Well, I can say it was big too, but it wasn't. It was something that even if there is an issue, I'll still be able to actually, provide a solution to it.
So, did you have a mentor while you were starting the farm? Do you have someone you would always run to that, okay, I'm having this challenge, what can you do for me?
If I say I have a mentor, it might actually not really be the true, the answer to that.
You didn't have a specific mentor?
But what I was doing then was, my friends. So I had friends too that were working on farms. So anytime, and then, he was working in a very big farm, So I think it's most likely that any problem, more experience, and I felt there is no issue I'm going to have it that they wouldn't have had on their farms. Yeah. So when I'm having that issue, in fact, ranging from drugs and things like that, so I always call.
Okay, now, so did you also have any challenge with your workers at any point? Did you have challenge recruiting workers on your farm? Or what has been your experience with workers on the farm?
In fact, up till now, we're still having issues with with workers, and basically, I think attendant goes on anymore. And because I feel most people are not really, or let me say, willing to really work on farm. So we always have this issue of the start. First month, the second, third month, you start seeing them, probably with few exceptions, that actually want to stay very long on farm. And what that issue we give you is that the problem you're going to have with that is this. Now, by the time they resume, the first month, the second month, they wouldn't have really gotten used to the system. And the funniest thing, most of them have never worked on farm. So you see that you're going to train them. For the first 2-3 months. So the fourth month, maybe there are some that will not even use up to that. They won't stay up to that 4 months. Wow. So we see that there is this continuous process of having to train and retrain. So they won't. And I think the remuneration is not really bad, because I know how much they pay. So what I just try to do to encourage them is just that there is always a bonus based on their performance. So definitely they know that once the farm is actually performing, there is low mortality and the birds are doing well. So definitely there is going to be a bonus, additional remuneration to their salary.
This farm is a very large one, and you do massive production of broilers, as we could see. You also have a processing farm. How have you been managing heat stress challenge with poultry and some other incidents of diseases on the farm? How have you been coping with that?
Because we are not new to those kind of issues, because we know that we're in the tropical our environment, this side of the country, or let me say, country anyway, or this part of the world is a tropical environment. So it's stress, yes, we know, and that's the reason I think it ranges from the way you actually construct your pen. Okay. If you actually look at it, you see that there is this shade all around the pen. I think that one is more or less like is a sunbreaker. So it provides a source of shade at the same time, let me say windbreak kind of too. And again, so we try to reduce the number of course, looking at this pen, the capacity is 4,000, but I don't stock more than 3,000 in it there. So the stocking density. As a result of that, the birds are not going. There will be less. I wouldn't say there won't be competition, but there is a reduced competition for space, for water, and of course, I think we try to give them a lot of vitamin C, which tends to cool them down once in a while. But that one tends to be kind of, because we want to reduce the cost of production. We often add ice block into their water, especially in the afternoon. And in that afternoon too, their feeding is at libitum without restriction. So what we make sure we do is we feed them during the cooler part of the day, very early in the morning. And if you check their the feeding trough now, there is no feed there. So I'm telling you, in the next probably 2-3 hours, that will be around 5-6. So that's where we tend to we feed again, and we put on the floodlights so that there is maximum lightning at night for them to. So whatever feed that they are not able to pick during the hot part of the day, so they'll be able to get that at the middle of the, or let me say, the later part of the night.
Okay, what would you say to a young animal scientist, for instance, or a young farmer that want to start venturing into livestock farming? What would be your advice to such person?
I think they should try to gain enough experience, but experience takes time, and experience comes with a lot of sacrifice. But I think what I would advise them is maybe when they actually have a mentor. I think that was the first question you asked. People, like, they say that when you fly, or when you fly at the shoulder of people who are people who actually know more than you, there is no how you're not going to have issues too. There is no how you're not going to feel. But I think the risk is going to be mitigated. It's going to be very reduced. Okay. So
before I will leave, I will give the CEO of Enreach Farm the opportunity to make a special request or demand from the policymakers or the government officials that are watching this show right now. So what would you like to request what support would you like to request from the global community?
Let them kind of create an enabling environment. An enabling environment, they know that we actually need a lot, because it's just so numerous. Look, of course, insecurity too is just probably. Will I tell the government to come and give me but by the time they create an enabling environment, so the issue of insecurity is actually gone. There is you can easily secure, or let me say, have access to soft loans, because at times it's not really about having billions or millions. So let me say, well, of course, it may actually be farming input that they're actually giving to us in terms of feed. Look at the cost of feed now, and that is what is actually killing everybody, and the major reasons why so many farms are closing down.
I've been speaking with the CEO of Enreach Farm, and he's no other person but Mr. Zubair Sulaiman. And I've been on this farm discussing with him on the livestock farming business and the profit, the challenges, and what have you. And that will be our show for today. Do join us again for another interesting edition of my Livestock-Story Series. If you have a story that you want to tell, kindly contact us on our social media handles on Livestock Trend on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. It is Livestock Trend TV. And you can always reach out to us, and we'll be on your farm to interview you and get your story to the world. Thank you very much for staying with me today, and I will see you next time.